Okay, well, they're transferring that over. Jeff, you have control we're going into our public comment. We have quite a few signed up. As many of you know, we can receive them verbally, but they're very limited. Like today, it's 2 minutes, but we also can receive them in writing, and we appreciate that too. But we also appreciate those that are sharing public comment today, recognizing with the volume that we have here, their comments limited to just a couple minutes. So we're going to get started on that. First up will be Kevin Gerard. I believe hopefully I've got that right, with Alejandra Vitella. You're on deck. And I'll just, as I introduce, I'll let whoever's on deck know that they'll be, so that they're ready to come on. So Kevin. Is Kevin available? Jeff, are you seeing Kevin in the mix here?
There's no Kevin on the list that I can see.
Okay. Alejandra, are you Vitella? And then Ambria Banegas. I think I said that right. I hope I did. Alejandra.
Yes, I'm present.
Okay. You're good for comment.
Thank you.
Might need to be a little closer to your mic.
Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Thank you. Hello, gentle people. My name is Alejandra Vitella. I am from the Salt Lake City School District, and I am a junior attending Highland High School. Please note that I am addressing the coronavirus as public knowledge. Here is my case. I believe the board should reconsider the decision to send high-risk Salt Lake City School District teachers back to schools. What I mean by this is that teachers who are at high risk of contracting the coronavirus should have the choice whether to attend school in person or not. Here is my reasoning. Many of the teachers at my school are either middle-aged or in their 60s. The age risks that the Centers for Disease Control Prevention has listed is 65. Since these teachers are higher risk than not, they should be able to choose the conditions they feel safe teaching in. So why take a risk exposing these teachers to environments where they can more easily contract the virus? I suggest considering this not only for Highland High School, but for every other school in the district as well. Teachers are the backbones of schools. They make sure that I, as a student, have the opportunity to experience great education. Because of the teachers I've had in the Salt Lake City School District, I have been able to adjust to Utah. I have been living in Virginia for all my life, and I was very scared when I moved to Utah. But the teachers and students alike were very kind and helped me settle in. And throughout my years in Utah, I have thus had the pleasure of meeting so many people that have changed my life. My debate teacher and coach, my orchestra teacher, and more. All of the teachers I have had really truly care about their students, and I wish I could say so much more about them. I want to, in return, give them the same care that they have given me, because without them, I would not be who I am today. So I ask, what is more important, these teachers' lives or students getting the teaching that they need? Because if we send high-risk teachers back to school, there's a good chance that later we may not have any. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you. Ambria Benagas, and then Steve Ferstadt.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Ambria Benagas. I am the mother of a biracial children married to a man who also has a Black sister and that is married to a Black man. And my sister is also married to a Brazilian. So my family is very racially diverse. So as you can imagine, teaching my children about different races and human respect is something that's very important to me and my husband. With the mounting racial tension in our society right now, I strongly oppose my children being taught about racial issues inside the school system. These are conversations that I personally and passionately believe that need to be taught by parents inside the home. Schools need to be neutral in the classroom concerning racial issues, politics, morals, values, sexuality, and gender programming. These topics are issues are polarizing, and they're fueling more societal and cultural division and hate when they're taught inside the schools. It is a parent's responsibility to teach their children these things, and this is confirmed in the Utah Constitution. I'm asking for your support in backing up parents and parental rights, and I'm asking you to please stay in your lane and stick to teaching academics. It's not acceptable to take parts of a critical race theory concepts and then repackage it into a new name. Also, I feel I'm personally taking a risk by even expressing my opinion right now when cancel culture is so rampant. I personally, it seems that anyone with a different opinion is vilified and bullied into compliance. I personally feel what makes America so special is that it was founded by people that were tired of being told what to think and say, and therefore provided us the provision in the Constitution to be protected to express our own opinions. This is what makes America so diverse and wonderful, and it's heartbreaking to see those that don't fall in line with specific agendas being silenced and censored. And if we allow this to continue to happen, we will all lose our voice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Steve Ferstadt with Deanna Holland. You're on deck. Is Steve with us? Jeff, are you seeing a Steve?
I do not see the Steve on the list.
Okay. Deanna, are you available?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, and then after Deanna, we'll have Kayla Warren.
Okay. My name is Deanna Holland. I'm the mother of 5 children, and over the last number of years have been very concerned about some of the extreme social views that are working their way into the Utah school system. So I'm speaking specifically about comprehensive sexuality education, transgender ideology, and critical race theory. CSE and CRT programs do not reflect the views of the majority of Utah parents. Because these ideologies can be so polarizing, schools cannot adequately delve into these issues in a way that respects all families' beliefs. We need to leave the teaching of these sensitive issues up to parents and return to politically and morally neutral education. Parents are the ones who know when their children are ready for controversial topics, and large classrooms cannot individualize and contextualize these conversations for young students. CRT is the preferred curriculum of Black Lives Matter, a self-proclaimed Marxist group. As a parent, I am absolutely against curriculum being pushed by a group with a Marxist ideology, and I'm not alone. Civil rights leader Dr. Wyatt T. Walker, who worked with Dr. Martin Luther King, wrote against CRT in 2015, saying that CRT is, quote, taking us in the wrong direction, separating even elementary school children into explicit racial groups and emphasizing differences instead of similarities, close quote. He recognized that CRT divides us instead of unifying us. All children deserve to be comfortable in their own skin, no matter the color, and we cannot go forward by going backward. I'm also extremely concerned about the vicious attack on school board member Natalie Klein. America is a place where diversity of thought used to be accepted, but is now rejected through the cancel culture mob. Natalie's views are no different than many of Utah parents. I fear this attack could set a dangerous precedent where Utah school board members and parents are unable to have a dialogue about important topics for fear of being similarly maligned and attacked. In fact, in a recent social media post, Utah BLM has labeled every single school board member as a racist. This is what critical race theory perpetuates. I'm asking you as a board to stand up against this ideology and the cancel culture it empowers, and to please keep these programs out of our classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have next is Kayla Warren with Rob Molman on deck.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Chair Huntsman and members of the USDB Governing Board. Today, I'm speaking to you on behalf of the UEA Educators of the Blind Caucus. Our caucus membership consists equally of USDB employed and LEA employed vision teachers who see a need for grassroots, collaborative, and interagency group to address the unique and specific needs we have as professionals in order to best serve our students. While we know you receive information from and engage in discussions with USDB administration, staff, and other skilled and knowledgeable members of the community, We believe our input is as valuable and vital for you to consider. The current state board 3% rule in R277 does not need recalculation, reevaluation, or change. It is already robust and allows choice for families, LEAs, and educators. Manipulation of the 3% rule could result in a monopoly of the delivery of services for blind and visually impaired students in Utah, as well as a monopoly of employment choices for us as professionals. Not only will it create a monopoly, but it will increase the TVI shortage in our state. Many LEA employed TVIs have expressed that they will either look for other teaching positions within their district or move out of state. This shortage will negatively impact our students and families. Please consider our input. We are advocating for the needs of our students and families we serve. We look forward to continued communication with you regarding our concerns and priorities as professionals when it comes to the public education of students in Utah who are blind or have low vision. Sincerely, Caleb Warren and Susie Blackham, and the rest of the UEA Educators of Blind Caucus.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Rob Molman, and on deck will be Heidi Matthews. Rob?
Thank you. I sit before you here as the queer kid from a school in South Africa, a queer teacher, and a passionate and lifelong educator. And I sit here in response to the comments made by Board Member Klein over the last weekend. I cannot shake my teaching roots, and I want to ask this board and the members in this meeting 3 questions in the same spirit of dialogue that was mentioned earlier and in the spirit of understanding. My first question: what do you believe the purpose of schooling and education is? Do you believe that it is simply to teach students to regurgitate information for a test or for some sort of appropriate time? Do you believe that it is to perpetuate some sort of status quo in society and culture? Or do you believe that education is the space to ask questions, to discuss issues of the day, and to provide young people with the opportunity to become lifelong learners and engaged citizens? Those are questions that this board needs to know and understand. The second question I have is, why does a place like the Pride Center advocate for inclusive classrooms? I am a white, tall, chubby, male-identifying immigrant to your country, and I will always bring all of those perspectives and identities into a classroom. Education cannot and never will be neutral. I cannot fully understand the life experiences or perspectives of the trans youth or people of color or young people in wheelchairs, but I can want to understand, I can want to be the person who through knowledge can make the space that I control a little kinder, a little more welcoming, and a little friendlier. This, I believe, is the purpose of the work. Not to indoctrinate people or change people's minds. It is not political correctness gone wild. It is not cancel culture. It is kindness. It is compassion. And it is understanding. It is being human. My third question is, why are we so afraid of these topics?
I'm sorry, that's time.
Can you wrap it up really fast?
Why are we afraid of these topics? Why are we afraid of these discussions? If we believe that knowledge is power, isn't the lack of knowledge increasing powerlessness for parents? My last sneaky question is to please, would you all please come to the Pride Center to know why we still have to exist, why our work is important, and what the actual real work is, and why we are so passionate about it. I thank you all.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Heidi Matthews with Chris Jensen on deck. Heidi? Is Heidi with us? Are you seeing Heidi, Jeff?
Heidi is on the list.
I'm here. Oh, sorry, I wasn't able to unmute. I'm here now. Thank you. Heidi Matthews. I'm a teacher serving as the president of the Utah Education Association, and with several new board members on the state board this year, really wanted to take this opportunity to reintroduce who we are and why our working together is so vitally important. As a professional association representing the majority of Utah's teachers, we are governed by a board of directors made up of full-time educators like you who are elected by our peers across the state to represent their interests. Our mission is to advance the cause of public education, to strengthen the teaching profession, promote quality schools for Utah's children. And I just want to thank Cindy Davies, Vice Chair Davis, for reminding us and sharing the stories this morning, because as a teacher for 30 years, there isn't a policy or practice that I don't immediately see the face of the child that it impacts. And to reiterate the previous speaker, I think compassion and empathy and kindness is the heart of education. And if our goals are similar to yours and require this collaboration. And I want to specifically call out some of the efforts that we as the UEA applaud the board have done in recent months, creating and supporting the advisory committee on equity and educational services for students, addition of equity, diversity, and inclusion specialists, establishing an equity compliant process, and especially noteworthy, the strong statement denouncing racism and embracing equity that was released by the board last month. And these actions speak loudly to your intent to work together and ensure all students feel safe, accepted, and welcomed in our schools and are given equitable opportunities to succeed and thrive. Last year,
That's time. Excuse me, that's time.
Thank you. I just look forward to our common goal of providing quality education for all of our Utah students, which requires, again, the recognizing the need for kindness, compassion, and empathy in our schools.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Chris Jensen with David Mortensen on deck. Chris?
Hello, my name is Chris Jensen. I'm chair of the board at the Utah Pride Center. I'm here to speak about the recent comments by Natalie J. Klein in regards to the Pride Center and its conference for educators. First, a little background about me. I've known I was gay since I was 10 years old. That made growing up in an Oklahoma town of less than 5,000 people lonely, intimidating, and even dangerous. Because of the community's fundamental leanings, hateful words and damaging stereotypes were frequently used to describe the queer community, even by teachers and school board members. Hearing this from people I looked up to left me feeling alone, that I had no hope, and that my life was a mistake and something was wrong with me. Frankly, it left a depressed shell of a kid. Suicide crossed my mind frequently. They also used the word indoctrination to justify their beliefs and actions. Let there be no mistake about the parallels between the past and present. This was and is a dog whistle, and a harmful one at that. As a public official, Ms. Klein's primary responsibility is to ensure our schools are safe and welcoming to all students. Her recent comments are not only an abdication of her duties, but they also put queer students at risk of bullying, harassment, and mental anguish. Let us not forget that Utah has the highest rate of youth suicide in the nation. I'm asking that Ms. Klein remove and apologize for her comments, as they are contributing to the toxic narratives that put young LGBTQ+ lives at risk. I'm also asking that Ms. Klein and the board accept the Utah Pride Center's open invitation to come to the center and learn about what we do and how you can positively impact the lives of all students. Thank you for all you do, and I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have David, our last public comment is David Mortensen.
Chair Huntsman, I believe Steve Ferstadt is on now.
I didn't get that, Lorraine. That who is?
I'm sorry, Steve Ferstadt has joined,
Oh,
so he would be the last.
okay. Thank you,
Can everybody hear me?
David. Yes.
Good morning. My name is David Mortensen, and I'm speaking on behalf of American Preparatory Academy. Later today, this board will be considering an audit of APA special education expenses from 2019. The events that led to this audit span years and cannot adequately be addressed in just 2 minutes. APA has repeatedly asked for an opportunity to address this board and to explain its position, but its requests have been denied. The audit and APA's response to the audit cover 80 pages. If you haven't read the full audit, I hope you'll do so before voting. Carolyn Charette, APA's executive director, sent an email with a video that shows how APA's special education program works and teaches special ed students in an equitable and in the least restrictive environment. If you haven't watched that video, I hope you'll do so before voting. Dee Henderson, APA's board chair, sent an email identifying some of the errors in the audit. If you haven't read his email, I hope you'll do so before voting. Trent Staggs, the mayor of Riverton, and one of thousands of parents who choose to send their children to APA, sent a petition with hundreds of parents' names. If you haven't read that petition, I hope you'll do so before voting. If the time comes, I'll make a number of legal arguments explaining how the audit went beyond the scope of the settlement agreement and how the USBE staff has breached the settlement agreement. But today I'll make just 2 points. First, the audit incorrectly questions special education expenses. Among other things, it questions money spent on occupational therapists who worked exclusively with special education students and paraeducators and one-on-one aides who spent the vast majority of their time working with special education students. APA should not be required to repay those amounts. Second, APA's special education program has been successful and its parents and students love it. In fact, today, while you're having this meeting remotely and from your homes and offices, there will be over 100 APA students and parents outside of your offices demonstrating their love and support for APA special education program in the cold. If you want to, you can watch this demonstration on Facebook Live. Thank you again for your time. And let me end by saying, please give APA an opportunity to come in and be fully heard before you vote on this issue, which is so vital to APA, its students, its parents, and its teachers. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Steve Ferstadt. Are you with us? Steve?
I am. Yes. Good morning. My name is Steve Ferstadt, and I have this may be a curriculum issue for civics, but I believe you can help students become properly educated about the balance of power between the federal and state governments by endorsing the following proposal. The founders of our country anticipated the tendency of the federal government to usurp state authority. So in their wisdom, they gave us the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, which is the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. However, over the years, the federal government has overwhelmed us with laws, regulations, and taxes, obliterating authority of the states, creating a deleterious divisiveness among the citizenry and a $30 trillion debt. So how do we get back to this appropriate balance of power? The answer is, as usual, proper education. Here's my proposal. Stress the importance of the 10th Amendment by requiring students to memorize it. It's only one line, it costs absolutely nothing, and more importantly, is nonpartisan, ergo non-divisive. This will certainly elicit from students the question, why this amendment? What's so special about it? And that creates a wonderful teaching opportunity. The instructor can now explain essays from the Federalist Papers, for example, Madison's description of federal powers as few and defined, as specified in Article 1, Section 8, or kings for the people, not people for the king. Students will then become politically intelligent voters. Otherwise, they're just pawns to those running for federal office with promises of programs they have no authority for, paid with money we don't have. Also, if government powers can be restored to the states, it will lower the intense rancor focused on the nation's capital and renew confidence in our government. Please support this proposal to help our children understand the balance of federal versus state authority. As I said, the powers of the federal government were derived from the states, not the other way around. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes our public comment section.